Moles have been providing text messages and information for quite some time on LIEnette. Remember, last time we were talking about her dogs. She called the Levy County Sheriff because her dogs were escaping her property and getting on mine. But let's not forget, she also called the Levy County Sheriff because she wanted to take the neighbor's dogs out. At the same time, she's attempting to buy spider monkeys as well with donated money. Allegedly. Allegedly, LIEnette claims she can't leave her property because she's paralyzed to it. Well, I think we ought to do some debunking. As a matter of fact, let's look at messages from two moles, not just one. Now, we can see right here, LIEnette says, I have my own way of having a fundraiser to do it. Okay, she's got it. And then she's asking the mole, what's this about Gypsy Rose? Now, many of you understand. Gypsy Rose, ooh, that's a situation there. Mom was diagnosed Munchausen by proxy and kept the child sick and in need of her care constantly because of this mental condition. And many have speculated that LIEnette has the same thing. Now, we already know through medical records that LIEnette's mother was diagnosed with this. The family has told us that LIEnette was diagnosed as well, and one of her ex-husbands is still searching for the records for us. So the mole goes on to say, it's a lady in Ohio. Someone sent this to me and I was concerned. Well, it just so happens that many of these moles, and there are legions, they start by defaming and saying horrific things about myself and George online. And yet they can't disprove the evidence. There's so much evidence. And then they start providing us with even more. Family, people that she thinks are friends she's never met in her life. That's not a true friend. I realize you probably have a best friend. I bet you've actually met that best friend. So the mole goes on to say, I was concerned since before they were saying that you seem like another Gypsy Rose case, as you can see in green right below, right there. And then LIEnette goes on to say, my daughter has an entire metabolic medical team. My daughter has, oh, you know where this is going, right? My daughter has a life-threatening condition. Oh, well, what if we were to call fraudulent? You know, that's another favorite word there as well. Now, no doubt the daughter probably has a condition. I can't get past. Can you imagine growing up as a child and being told that everything is going to unalive you? The horrific things that must do to that child. And she goes on to say, I never, ever take my daughter to the doctors unless, okay, let's see what's up. Remember, she never takes the daughter anywhere. But she was going to be the clerk for the town hall because Russ the Sus claimed to the police that Crook was going to be serving on the board and LIEnette was going to be the new town clerk. But she never takes her daughter anywhere. Let's keep seeing what's going on. And we're going to look at where her daughter has been. So let's see. Never take my daughter to the doctors unless I have to, because you know why? Because doctors' offices are filled with germs and sickness, and can go on and on here. And my daughter cannot get a fever. I don't care what that idiot has said to you or anyone else. My medical team has already written me a very, not just a letter, a very powerful letter. Look at that. LIEnette's getting medical team powerful letters. Like superpowers. She's got the Superman of letters here. It's powerful. There is power. Power. Wonder-working power in the letter of the medical team. There is power. Wonder-working power in the precious letter from the team. And then she goes on to say period. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe this. Period. Too bad it wasn't followed up by an ugh. My medical team has written me a very powerful letter of support, period. I've done everything right with my daughter, and that is the only reason my child is so healthy. How healthy can a child be living literally in a dump with fecal matter and dangers all around? I don't need to prove it to anyone, but soon the entire story will be coming out. Wait, I thought LIEnette didn't want the story coming out. I thought she didn't want anybody to film her or tell her story or even say her name. And yet here she is stating that the story is coming out. That's interesting. Which then the mole says, no worries. That's no problem. I get you. No worries. Glad you have everything under control, LIEnette. And then LIEnette starts to go off. Do you know what really bothers me? It's the fact that people don't use their brains. Oh my goodness. The brainless wonder, claiming that people don't use their brains. Now, would we call this ironic? Would we call it hypocrisy? Would we call it just comedy? It could be a lot of all of that. What really bothers me is the fact that people don't use their brains. Oh, it's not that difficult to use our brains. When you see the evidence, it's very strong. It's very evident. I think that might come from the core word of evidence. What's truly going on here? That this child is a paycheck for this person and Crook. Except Crook is now in jail. So I guess he's not getting the paycheck from Social Security or from the child now. They don't think about what they're saying or what they're looking at. Do you think that a big hospital is going to admit a child into a hospital for absolutely no reason at all? Do you think CPS after 20 visits Okay, now hold a second. Do you think CPS after 20 visits wouldn't have my child removed? Now, keep in mind, this is the same CPS, I believe. No, it might be a different CPS, but this CPS, okay, which is Department of Family and in Florida, it's called something else, DCF, I believe. And these are the same people that had Silver Scam's wife on board, who was then accused of abusing her own daughter. So, yeah, I think there's all kinds of things that are happening in Florida. I mean, just look at what Deputy Duncan is doing. Just look what he's not doing. Just look what the sheriff department isn't doing. Just look at Judge Grudge. I mean, Florida is out of control. And whether it's the county or whether it's the state, something is not right. Do you think CPS after 20 visits wouldn't have my child removed, even if they thought there was a problem? Well, obviously they thought there was a problem. They removed LIEnette and Crook from dwelling together. That's how LIEnette got into the actual shed. Interesting, huh? Do you think Fish and Game, after being out here 3 times and having hundreds of calls, wouldn't have removed my tortoises if I hadn't been taking care of them? Well, let's see. There were 3 citations. Yeah, I think there's an issue there. By the way, Fish and Game has also been reprimanded for the way that they handled those things. Now, I know that because I've been in communication with the higher-ups, but I haven't shared that yet, the higher-ups in Tallahassee. If I wasn't taking care of them, thinking about it, and when people say stupid things to you, why don't you tell them to think about it? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Here's what I think is ridiculous. LIEnette claiming that she can't have this child within 6 feet of anybody because she might get unalived. Want evidence? Okay, I'll give it to you. LIEnette. Oh yeah, that's her Jeep Gladiator. Now, we're not like LIEnette. We can actually identify her vehicle when she says she can't identify George's. That's LIEnette's vehicle right there. with not an outdoor space, but an indoor space, which costs more. Here's LIEnette with oh my goodness, we need all the help we can get. We're a rescue. Help us with our turtles and our tortoises, which what the people really need to know is they are abusing and neglecting the animals. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, Waylon, the boy toy of Landon. Oh, look at that. We're going to bring turtles out. I thought they were rescuing them, not bringing them to the flea market. Oh, here we go with some more. Oh, by the way, yeah, these are moles taking pictures and sending them to us. We have no communication, no contact with these people whatsoever. Just people send us everything. Now, what you're going to see here is you're going to see a man within 6 feet. So you see the man, you see LIEnette, and you see Waylon. And behind Waylon, with an arrow, you see the child in a little pop-up cage. Not 6 feet apart, not paralyzed to her home. As a matter of fact, right in a building with a whole bunch of people coming in, touching things, breathing. You know, what's the other thing that you notice here? You notice LIEnette has no mask. None at all. So all of these people are coming into contact, but she's paralyzed to her property. She can't do anything. You know what? Let's take a little peek at this video. And the other question is, why is it taking LIEnette this long to try and go make money? You just heard the child. There you go. Child is in there, right there. Random people everywhere, right? So where's the paralyzation? Where's the life-threatening condition? Because I'm not seeing it. You know what I do see? I see Landon in a full black spandex suit. Why? Why? Huh. Going out at night. Now, we already know he damaged our property. Trespassed and damaged. The fool was on actual camera. And this is another individual, another mole. Now, this mole has said horrific, horrible things about myself and George. And then wants to play the other side. So this mole says this. When you stated on the video that Landon may have done damage to your property, it's not may have done. He did do. That may have done damage to your property. I thought of this picture that was sent to me of Landon. He's dressed in a full bodysuit. First thing that came to mind was he was trying to disguise himself so he can go onto your property. I can't prove anything, but I'm concerned for both of y'all's safety. This person has said horrific things about us, legally defaming us, but now concerned about our safety. You know that part where LIEnette said people don't use their brains? I'm pretty sure this would apply to individuals that don't use their brains when the evidence is all there for everyone to see. Goes on to say, just be aware that they have a bodysuit and nothing would surprise me at this point. Please be careful. Watch your back. Even though we may not see eye to eye, I do not want any harm done to you. Interesting. And then it goes on to say, LIEnette sent this. I was trying to help her do the right thing, but being true to herself came out several days ago when she went psycho on me. Okay. Just so you can see it. Oh, let's pull it back up. Just so you can see it. Come on. When she went psycho on me. Gee, does anybody think LIEnette's not gonna go psycho on them? Okay, when she went psycho on me, yelling and screaming at me because I called her out on her lies. Well, that's not very difficult to do at all. Pretty easy. I called her out on her lies. I also have a pic she took while walking down the highway. It backs up your all story. Well, we have the story because there were plenty of people that actually saw it. They experienced it firsthand. And you're going to get the police reports soon. Okay. And then it goes on. Let's see what else this mole has to say. This mole had a lot of things to say. A lot of things to say. And, oh, yes. Okay. LIEnette, I confronted her the night she was walking alongside the highway. The text messages we exchanged was over a 24-hour period. I'm trying to figure out how to send the exchange we had. She changes her story several times without completing her first thought or exchange. Well, that's what rugs do. It's really unsettling. I've made several reports to the CPS within Florida is DCF. I've made several complaints. Now, this is one of LIEnette's closest allies. I've made several complaints to DCF, and I've had the cops even do a welfare check on her. This was after the issue with John being arrested. Have Jeremy get the report from the police. She tried to say that somebody walked up to her Jeep while the child and grandson and girlfriend was in the car and pulled a pew-pew on them. All right, just so you guys can see this, it's all in here. It's 100% what's written down. Now, I can't confirm anything. This is what's emailed to me. So LIEnette's trying to say that somebody walked up to the Jeep while the child, the grandson, the girlfriend were in the car and pulled a freedom bang bang stick on them. When she sent the text to me, I called the police. The police said someone was already there. After the cops left, LIEnette stated that the cops didn't believe her. Oh, gee, I wonder why. A lot of things are not making sense, and I personally believe she's getting worse. I told her that she needed help and never to contact me again. Please be careful. Again, I ask you, don't share my information online, but I'm willing to help as long as I can stay in the background, which we're not going to share any of that personal information. Nor, because this person has come forward, we are not going to hold them legally liable as well. And then it goes on to say, that says, please note, I have some doctor's appointments. There are days I don't feel well due to my illness, but I will do the best I can to give you all the screenshots. My biggest concern is for the child. I will stay in contact via email. Please be safe. This is an individual who was adamantly for LIEnette, and now has made the right transition and is for the child. Regardless of whether you are for me, against me, for George, against George, everybody should be for that child. And so the information continues to come through, and they say, by chance, are you all still in contact with Ashley? Ashley is one of the children. And the reason I ask is LIEnette made some very disturbing allegations against Ashley that I feel could do a lot of emotional damage to her. Well, this is the same woman that put up signs saying that I rapist her child. So you think that might do some damage? Yeah, there's definitely some stuff. She told me on 2 different occasions the same story. One time, John and the child were listening to the conversation. Okay, so the child's in the background. The child's always hearing all of this. We've heard the child actually repeat the cuss words from Crook. Okay, it was inappropriate for a child to hear, much less how many other people she has told the story to. Can you give my email to Ashley? No disrespect, Jeremy, but due to the nature of this context, I do not feel comfortable telling you, but I would be okay telling George so she can tell Ashley. Okay. And she goes on to say, unfortunately, this piece of information was told to me over the phone by LIEnette. Guide me in the best way to deal with this. All right. And what I said in response was the best thing is anything over the phone. It's hearsay. And so there's no point in even disturbing Ashley, because if there's no recording, you got to record the conversations. So that one was not recorded. Let's see what else is in here. Boy, there's quite a bit. All right, we've got screenshots, literally screenshots of messages, tons of them, okay, and sound recordings. We have all that as well. She's saying that I called the sheriff on John and a guy named Chad, which LIEnette claims she did. We have the reports. And John pulled a pew-pew on him. I don't remember that at all. I never heard of someone signing a waiver to go to not go to jail. I think she's listening to the Hales and believing him. Oh my goodness. This is LIEnette. This is LIEnette sending this to the mole. LIEnette sending, it is all in the police reports. All of it. Yeah, you got the sound clips there too. All of it is in there. All right, here's another good one. Here is another good one. I'm firing Shart. Don't you have to pay Shart to actually fire Shart? I kind of expanded that one for everybody. Says, I'm firing Shart. I'm done. And last night's pew pew incident was enough for me. I'm freaking over this. Oh, and she then, remember, she says she doesn't use any swear words, but she calls me a, well, we'll just, something that Crook very adamantly is very interested in on my body. That we'll just say that. That's probably the best way to go about it, in all honesty. It goes on as well. Okay. So this is about the vehicle and she called the cops for. Okay. All right. So it goes on to say, Tyra and my daughter were in the car, the Jeep, 2 men, about 35. It's amazing how these two have so many physical ailments. They can't see anything, but now LIEnette can actually, she can determine that it was 2 men that were approximately 35 approached, looking at Tyra in the back seat. Tinted windows, but they're approaching, looking at Tyra in the back seat. That's the girlfriend of Landon. With my child, they decided to pull their shirt up. So Tyra, and you can see it right there, a firearm. And they threatened her with a pew pew. And then she also goes on to say, oh, this is somebody calling. I don't know what that's about. But doesn't matter because we're busy. I also don't have a phone at the Cricket is claiming that my phone that I bought at T-Mobile is their phone. Therefore, I have it locked for 6 months. It's not their phone. She's fighting with Cricket over a phone. You can see right there. My goodness, the insanity. The literal insanity. It's just mind-blowing. All right, let's see what else we have in there. Okay, we also have the S is still going down on the bottom curve angle. Oh, now she's talking about her handwriting. She's talking about the handwriting on the posters that she posted up. She said the S is still going down on the bottom curve angle at the left R is the same as the H but altered. Crazy. H has left to the right angle. She's literally assessing the posters that she's claimed she has never ever seen. And yet, here's an entire conversation where she's trying to say that she's innocent. I'm going to say probably not. All right, let's see what else we have in here. Then she goes on to say, this is insane. This is insane. There's my proof. He means I should be wrapped. No, I mean anybody who claims that somebody's done this in their life, they should actually receive the exact same consequences of the person that they claimed did it. In other words, she should be in jail for life. Claiming, trying to destroy somebody's life by that. And then she goes on, but the writing, although he tried to change it, is the same as the sign that shows Jeremy, get out, who, Rappus here, whatever. All right? Now she's claiming I altered the signs. So she's publicly stated that she has never seen any of the signs. Nobody in Otter Creek has seen the signs. Now she's actually trying to defend herself with this mole. I mean, can it get any crazier? Well, trust me, it does. Okay, here's another one. I can't even read that one, unfortunately. I can't read this one. Yeah, I can't read that one either. There are some things that are too horrific to actually share and read. This one might be better here. Okay. And let's see. We've got... Oh, now she's talking about the other mole where we just started this. She goes, me too. The other, I'm just going to say the other mole. I'm not going to use her name. The other mole thought she could bully me and threaten me. This is insane. Everybody is a bully. How is it that everybody's a bully, but she's not a bully? She literally accuses people of rapisting, but she's not a bully. This is insanity. She thought she could bully me and threaten me to give her my video of me going out of the driveway. This is in the incident where she says to George, so afraid, which LIEnette videoed, which I guarantee you she deleted because it's incriminating. Because even though the entire sheriff department has watched their video side of it, I feel I'm innocent. And she said I didn't give it to her, so I was guilty, so I blocked her. Now she's spilling her guts. All for what? She's on dialysis, I think for cancer treatment or something. She could face God very soon, and I'd much rather stand before him as me than her. Oh, and then you know how it ends. Bullying me was wrong. Ugh. The messages from this mole continue on. Those are some of the texts from my phone. At one point, she got another phone since the sheriff took her phone. I don't know what is true and what is not. Hope you're able to read them. And then it goes on to say, I had to look back at my text messages to see why they took her phone. To my knowledge, they took her phone the day they searched her property, assuming searching for the pew-pew with Crook when he got arrested. She used Landon's phone to text until she got a new phone with a new number. This is coming out of her mouth, so I don't know what is all true. You guys have proven her lies on more than one occasion. I trust what you're saying versus her word. And it just keeps going on and on and on like this. I mean, there's so much evidence stacked against this woman. LIEnette has civil protection orders against her. And yet, she literally says, let me get one of my people to put a statement out. Now, if this isn't proof of third-party communication, I don't know what is. Let me get one of my people to put a statement out. Okay. This is to the first mole that we started talking about. And the first mole says, okay, I've just been warning you of all of this that's happening. In other words, all of the evidence stacked against her. That's pretty significant. All right, let's see what else we have here, because there's so much. It's ridiculous how much there is. All right, and now we go to the town hall meeting. We go to the town hall meeting where Don and, well, we know Don definitely walked out, because this is what LIEnette has to say about this. Holy crap, this is the mole. Holy crap, Don just walked out of the meeting. Couldn't hear what? LIEnette goes, because they were breaking the law. They are criminals. This is funny because nobody's in jail except for Crook. Now, LIEnette soon to follow, no doubt. They are criminals. This is a woman that actually helped Crook hide the firearm. Could you make out what he said? It was so quiet. They aren't speaking loud like they normally do. And then LIEnette says, he left because they were breaking the sunshine law. He didn't want to be a part of it. And he shouldn't, per LIEnette. Remember, she's got so many friends, so many beautiful friends in Northport. Except the commissioner has already told us, don't get involved with these people. They are toxic. And the female, the wife of the commissioner, is a writer and has said the exact same thing. These people destroyed everything around them. Okay, but the lawyer was sitting right there at the table. It's so confusing. This is what the mole says. If it was illegal, the lawyer would have stopped them. And then LIEnette says about the lawyer. Remember, LIEnette's a lawyer. She knows all this stuff. She's a Doogie Howser. She graduated early from high school. What she told everybody, she lied. She didn't graduate early. She dropped out. And she goes, she's dirty. She believes that you can just change the charter anytime you want without voting. Now LIEnette is calling the lawyer dirty. I wonder if the lawyer wants to file a lawsuit of defamation against LIEnette. And goes on to say, without voting, not true, and you have to vote on the people that sit on the board. They're not appointed by the clerk. What? Okay, hold a second. Now, if some of you are confused, Russ was going to appoint Crook. with no authority whatsoever to do such. And apparently, according to LIEnette, she was going to be the new town clerk. I wonder what authority she would then think that she has. So it would have been okay for Russ and okay for LIEnette and Crook, but not okay for Belinda. I'm not following this mentality, y'all. LIEnette goes on to say, that lawyer's dirty as they come, and her day is coming. No, seriously, this is what she says. I'm curious if Megan would like to file a lawsuit against LIEnette for all of this. That lawyer is as dirty as they come, and her day is coming. That sounds like a threat as well against the lawyer. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make sure, I haven't yet, but I'm going to screenshot this right now. And I'm sending this to Megan right now so that she can follow up with context and explanation. There are 5 seats on the board, but then the mole says, but there's only 4 chairs at the table. And then LIEnette says, Belinda thinks she sits on the board, but she's not. And she's not tired of the clerk. She was hired as the bookkeeper. I know you think I'm joking. The woman can't spell. She's not tired as the clerk. She's not tired. Well, maybe Belinda is tired. Maybe she needs a nap. I need one. Who doesn't love num-nums and a nap? Best thing in the world. Look at this hammock. I can just get some num-nums out here, hang out, take a little nap. I'm tired. Tired of LIEnette and Crook. I don't care how many chairs are on that freaking table. There are 5 seats on the board. And then the mole says right there, I don't know this stuff. That's why I'm asking you. And then LIEnette says it's a very, very sad day in Otter Creek. I'm pretty sure the saddest day in Otter Creek was the day that LIEnette and Crook arrived. Okay. And the mole says it is. Consoling, it is. And then LIEnette says, all of us real residents. Whoa. LIEnette is now a real resident. Again, let's keep this in mind. All of us real residents. We all feel the same way. We weren't allowed to vote. It was taken from us. How's LIEnette a real resident? Number one, she's claiming homestead illegally. She has no home. That's not residency. Homestead. In Ohio, this is my residency. We don't call it homestead. Florida has different names for everything. The rest of the country, we're all on the same standard. So this is my residency. Now, if I was in Florida, if this was in Florida, and I would claim this as my homestead or my residency. To do that, you have to have a home. Now, LIEnette and Crook don't have a home, and they're claiming residency illegally. Okay, so we've got an issue there. Not to mention, how are they the real residents of Otter Creek? They came in posting signs illegally to get rid of Russ the Sus, Stuart Stewart, Attorney Worm. LIEnette, in her own words, has stated that the first thing she was going to do was fire Mary Mathis Gary DeGroot. Oh boy, this is a pickle for her, huh? I wonder if she'd give John a nickel for his pickle. Let's see what else we have to say. But we weren't allowed to vote. It was taken away from us. Well, you can't vote. If there's 2 seats, 2 people, there is no voting. They get sat. It's automatic. If there's 2 seats, 3 people, then you have to vote. 1 person doesn't get in. I don't know how her brain works. She claims she knows how her brain works, but... And then the mole says, right, because Belinda was going to make you secretary. Man, my brain is going. I started typing something. I couldn't remember what I was writing. Okay. I mean, this is LIEnette and the mole just going on and on about this. The mole is now sending copies of the police reports to LIEnette and saying, did you really yell that? Talking about her yelling at George. And LIEnette says, it says on the report that I clearly did not yell at her. I also have a video, and no, I didn't yell anything at them. Okay, so now we have proof of this video again. Remember the last mole number 2, where LIEnette was saying that mole number 1 was bullying her? I still can't get it. How these fools literally claim that everybody bullies them. When they start this, Now, if somebody starts something with me, I'm going to be the person that finishes it. This is insanity. And then LIEnette goes on to say, oh, yeah, she's a minister, taking the Lord's name in vain. Yet again, she's a minister. Oh, boy. Oh, my G. I have my video. It says you can faintly hear LIEnette say something. I had a passenger. I was recording. I said to my passenger and camera, she's not afraid. Oh, well, isn't this justification? By the way, there was nobody in the vehicle. So now she's justifying the third-party communication. Oh, yes, you can be assured this is going to be in court. She's recording and said to the camera, she's not afraid. I didn't yell anything. I resent you saying I yelled something or accusing me falsely. It's no better than what they are doing, meaning me and George. We have never done anything to them whatsoever. We proved. Hold a second, what? We proved that. We proved that. Okay, hold a second. Hold up, wait a minute. Let's put a little court in it. What we has been proved is they have stalked us. What's been proved, they're guilty of stalking. What's been proved is they constantly violate the civil protection order. Per a judge, that was proved with evidence. I mean, I can't even get it. All right, I can't even get it. We proved that we looked at the property in 2018. Oh, okay. Now, nobody has seen any proof that this property was looked at in 2018 because it wasn't for sale. Oh, yeah, that's right. We've already contacted the realtor. We have all the history. We have more for court. I swear we could spend a month or two in court just debunking all of her lies. But anyways, she's going on to say that she's proved. How do you prove you looked at it in 2018? It was a tax sale. Yeah, it has sold for way, way, way less than LIEnette CROOK paid for it. And how would LIEnette CROOK know how to look at tax sales? They don't. As a matter of fact, if they were pushed and pressed, they wouldn't be able to tell you anything about a tax sale whatsoever. They didn't look at anything ever. As I had said, we proved I never extorted him. I never extorted him a leap pad from him. I have messages to prove. I offered to buy it. I have proved you're talking to me about. Call Lieutenant Anderson. He'll tell you no one thinks that we're the ones doing this. There you go. Now this puts us in a pickle. Because Lieutenant Anderson has been very, very open with us, and Norian has been very, very open with us that they're doing everything they can to arrest Crook and LIEnette. So they're either telling us the truth or they're playing good cop, bad cop, playing both sides and saying the same thing to them. Now, the part of this is you can't trust LIEnette because the only thing that comes out of her mouth is lies. At the same time, you can't trust the cops because they are allowed to lie. So what's the truth? I don't know. But the mole goes on to state this. It's not looking that way, and lots of people will be having questions. Plus, this is showing that she was telling the actual truth, meaning George. Oh boy, she didn't like that. And then the mole says, I'm talking about your video. Do you have proof that you didn't say anything to her? And then LIEnette, instead of sending the video, the paper clearly says, the paper clearly shows that she lied to the sheriff. Her own video shows that. No, her own video shows LIEnette going into her drive and then purposefully coming out of the drive, then purposely putting the window down, and then purposely looking at George, and then purposely stating, so afraid to George. That's what the video shows. You can't argue with video evidence. And then the mole says, don't be yelling at me. If you can't handle any of the questions, how are you going to do in federal court? I love this. The mole puts her right in her place. If you can't handle me asking you simple questions, how in the world are you going to do in court? Well, we already know how LIEnette does in court. And then LIEnette says, yes, again, I'm going to bed. Good night. And then she goes, I don't owe you anything, ma'am. I proved it to the sheriff. They've cleared me. Insanity. I proved it to the sheriff. Oh, by giving that video over? And clearly they closed the investigation with me being the honest one. Oh, except she's in court in Ohio over it. All right. And then I love this. The mole says, okay, well, if you're not going to share it with me, I'm just going to take it as you're lying. Now, keep in mind, this mole has said horrific things about us as well, but we are not holding this mole accountable for any of that legally because they've come forward. Our word is good. We mean what we say what we mean what we say. Okay. And then the mole goes on to say, and if you don't know what to say, you're saying, I'm going to bed. LIEnette says, oh, wow. I'm under a gag order from a judge. No, LIEnette's never been under a gag order. The judge illegally took my First Amendment rights. And now LIEnette's saying she's under a gag order. Wrong. Oh, wow. I'm under a gag order from a judge, and it clearly speaks for itself. I told you my answers. I'm sorry you don't believe it. Call the sheriff, ma'am. If they feel they are the liars, not us, stating that George lied. And then the mole goes on to say, I'm not calling anyone to prove whether you're lying or not. And then LIEnette goes on to say, I'm not giving you that video. Yep, here we go. I am not giving you that video. Right there. Not giving you that video. Oh, I wonder if she gave it to the sheriff. The sheriff will have it, and my attorneys have it. It's being used in court. Wait, I thought she was under a gag order. It'll be used in court. You'll have to wait like everyone else. Funny you believe them hands down, but I'm instantly the liar. Well, typically people who lie are known as liars. I mean, that's kind of your reputation, right? If you lie all the time, you're going to be known as a liar. People are never going to keep you and their mind as trustworthy. They're never going to think you're honest. This is insanity. So if people think of this, if people think of what the Hales, they think, okay, storage treasures, storage units, treasure hunting, they think fun employment, but they also think mess with him and he ain't ever going to back down. They also think he does exactly what he says he's going to do versus somebody else who constantly gets debunked and lies. Okay, but I'm instantly the liar, yet this paperwork clearly sticks up for me. The video, clearly, you hear LIEnette say, so afraid. All right. And then she goes, good night. I'm tired. Busy day. Family visiting. God bless. Oh, the entire family that wants nothing to do with her? There's no family visiting. Her daughter, who she pushed out of the Jeep in Chiefland, she goes, the mole then goes, well then, I'll be watching for the video on the court videos then. And like I said, don't yell at me. And then she says, why are you saying I'm yelling? And don't you talk to me like that, ma'am. Goodbye! That's what she says. And then she blocks her. Typical narcissistic, pathological, habitual liar move. But I guarantee you, she'll unblock her again.